re-record is gonna happen, our re-record fee is gonna start in about a year from now. This is, right before tab 4. It'll be in the tab 3 section. So what I did here was, I went through and did a table of what we had done over the last 10 years, is for what the brands division is, their expenses were over the last 10 years, and kind of seeing what their expenses were, and also seeing what their funding ratio was between per capita, because they're funded with per capita as well as the brands fees. One of the things.
Brian, is there an issue?
No, I was just looking at, I'm trying to telepath the mic to go up.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to have it up for folks that may not have.
Couldn't tell whether you wanted me to leave. Okay, go ahead, Evan.
Yeah. So at the very top here, it kind of explains my methodology for going through this here. I went to our 2021 budget for personnel services, and in order to project those expenses, added kind of the status quo what the legislature's been doing, giving us 50 cents a raise. So I calculated that as a projection. I kind of averaged the operating expenses, and it was almost 2% per year. So just amortize that over the next 10 years as well. So come up with about a 2%, 2.5% annual over both for the total operations. That's kind of how that second table there is showing. That third table at the bottom, that is showing our new brands and transfers revenues, how they come in, kind of, you know, where we know we talk about, we get a little bit in the beginning of the 10-year period. We can recognize a little bit.
Right.
All the cash comes in, like $250,000, but we can only recognize 1/10 of it in that first year. So that's what that last table. I know it's a very busy worksheet, so.
No, it's understandable.
Okay.
And that's an audit requirement.
Right, yes, yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So keep going.
So on the second page there, then this is showing a couple of different proposals. We do have, we can go any direction here, but there's a no change, which if we don't raise our fee, what this is showing is that brands fees will pay for about 65 to 68% of the brands division. Per capita fee would pick up 30 to 35, 37% during that 10-year period. The second table, if we raise both brands fees and the new brands and transfers by $25, I just, if we're gonna, because the new brands and new brands and transfers is twice as much, but I think what their original reason for that was $100 for basically the recording of the fee, and $100 for research, going back and finding out if there's any brand conflicts or something. So it was a fee, so that's why it's $100 more.
And an important point there is I think that was a finding of a past, years ago, like 10 years ago, financial audit saying the work for a re-record is not the same as the work, and so therefore it didn't make sense to them that the fees were the same.
Okay.
So with this scenario here, I just added $25 to both of them, just to keep that recording of the brand for a new brand the same as the re-recording. That's the only reason I did it. And then, so what that one there scenario shows is the new brands, or the brands fees, all the brands fees would be paying for about 65% of the brands divisions. And so then per capita fee would pay just a little bit less, obviously. And then I did the same thing with that third table down there with the $50 increase for both new brands and transfers and the re-record.
So you did it for $25 and $50.
Yeah. Yes. And at the $50 one, the per capita fee would pay for about 30% of the brands division expenses.
Okay. You suggest that you have to be at least that far.
You think we need
50 level.
More than that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would say
Is
that.
there a recommendation from Brett? Do you have any?
You guys heard my recommendation in October.
Yeah, I was just gonna point out that if you look at the work from the previous are today in terms of ratio of brands fees to per capita is about 77% to 23%.
That's what I said, that's what I said. It's a lot.
And so
It's
that one
$50.
is keeping it the same by 2031, because the reality is that if you begin to lose buying power of your brand fee, per capita is what's gonna have to step into that gap,
Right.
or nothing. I guess that's an option too.
What's your, anticipation, or what's the expectation for per capita fee in each one of these? Just stagnant, or is it an expected increase in these?
It's gonna go up
10 years
just,
out, or-
it'll go up a little bit as well, but, about 2%. It'll go up with inflation as well, but it'll stay that 23,
Not the
20.
fee, but the total.
Revenue.
Yeah,
The need for it.
yes, the need. The
You're
need.
asking the revenue question, right? How much revenue are you plugging into this relative
Well,
per capita? And
it's-
he's saying it's going up a little bit every year.
Yeah, the per capita fees will go up at about the 2% as well. It's gonna continue to go up.
So he's assumed an increase in per capita revenue application as well as the increase in fee.
With the revenues, with per capita fee revenue, we haven't done anything with that.
That's all we
That-
did.
That's what you were asking.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
you're saying is you kept it,
So this here isn't going to, this won't, we can change that fee every year.
No.
Per capita,
Hold
but yeah,
on.
yes.
what I'm asking,
Yeah.
let me try it. On your per capita fee projected revenue,
Mm-hmm,
and you got a 10-year
yeah,
or 11.
yeah, it's
10 or
11 years.
horizon,
Yeah.
okay? Are you using the same per capita fee, not revenue, fee, each of those years?
That in brands is gonna go up as well. But it's, but
And he's
as far as
asking
revenue.
just on
That's not
per
what I
capita.
mean.
The
Yeah,
fee
but
part, not
in
the
in per
total.
capita. No,
Are you anticipating a per capita fee increase
Okay.
in here at all by this board?
Yeah,
Or
yes.
are you anticipating a,
Oh,
a straight line of this is what we're gonna charge for per capita fee for the next 10 years?
just for brands re-record, it's gonna have to go up a little bit, but
Now,
overall, I have,
and I-
well,
I'm not
and I
talking
think
about branch
you've not
report.
assumed, I think to answer that definitively, you've not assumed any per capita fee increases in that horizon.
correct, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
You've kept it at, so cattle's 229 now, you've assumed it as if cattle was gonna be 229 in 2031.
Right, yes, yeah.
But that computes to a revenue number.
Well, what he's doing is taking the difference and just backfilling it per capita.
Yes.
I mean, on this, all he's doing
Right.
is taking the difference, and that's what he's charging per capita
Mm.
on this chart.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, but the rate stays the same on per capita.
What I'm trying to get to is, if you look at the percentage, and what Mike has told me before I come down, you know, the history is to try to keep the percentage of your brand fee versus your per capita fee in relationship.
Correct.
What I'm saying is, I don't believe that you can look at that percentage in year 2031, or any year for that matter, in the $25 fee increase or the $50 increase, and feel that that's correct, if we're not making some projection on per capita fee increases. If we're using it as stagnant, and I don't care, for the sake of this discussion, I'm fine, I just wanna know what it was. And what I understand it to be is that you just use the same per capita fee for the full 10 years.
Yes,
And so therefore, I don't believe that percentage relationship is correct. But that's fine, that's not,
Well,
that's
No,
not.
but
And I can-
here's the issue, right? The issue is the relationship difference, but you have to assume that he has to assume now, no fee change, up or down,
Yeah.
and as a matter of fact then, a revenue number
Right.
that's commensurate with it in this bottom puddle over here.
I got that.
And this bottom puddle over here then changes depending on how much you increase it. So he changes his percentage based upon, and what I heard him say is that $50 gets you to about a 30% per capita, which historically we've done about 27. which argues for the fact that it has to be at least $50 and probably a little more.
We're on the same page. I just, you look out at that 2031, it's 75-25, and you go, come on.
Right.
I'm not arguing that you did something wrong, I just wanted to make sure we're evaluating it correctly.
And I think another thing to talk about in the evaluation is remember that our obligation is to spend user fees first. So there is an order of operations in how we spend money. So in the brands, we always spend all the fees before we get into per capita authority. Okay, and then once the fees have been spent, then we get into per capita authority. And if it's a program that has general fund, then when all the per capita is gone, then you go to your general fund authority. You sort of have to spend it in that order. And so what I would say is when you look at this, if you look at the no fee change, I think is the important one to look at. If you look at 2021, if we're leaving everything the same, per capita is the same, the brands fee is the same. So for 2021, we would be putting just under $1.3 million per capita into brands to cover all expenses. Fees would cover the rest. But if you look at 2031, to cover all the costs, you would need to put $1.6 million per capita in. So a $400,000 difference. So I think to your question is what's coming down the pike if you do nothing? Is at some point the board will have to consider, wow, we've got a lot larger per capita fee obligation we had in the past. Now we need to look at per capita fee increases, right? That's how that relationship or scenario can work together over time.
And which is going to have a much greater effect on producers than a grant fee.
Potentially, yes.
But so operationally, you need to try to maintain the ratio. So to do that, you have to increase the fee on the front end in order to have the ratio maintained over a period of time, assuming no change in per capita fee structure, which is all you can assume. And so that directs it right back to the operational impact of the fee structure. So again, you wind up with a minimum of $50 increase, and it suggests you're still not meeting the historical, so you probably have to go a little higher than that. Unless I read the numbers wrong.
I feel like you're reading that.
Because if I read it, so it's hair splitting somewhere between, $50 increase or 75, depending on how you look at it.
I do have $100 here, just on my own here, but it shows about 27%.
27 is
Yeah.
100?
Yeah.
So that gets you almost
Yeah.
historically right to where it was.
Yeah.
So, I didn't understand what you just said. Can you
Well,
explain?
he's saying
Double
that when he ran a $100 fee increase,
Okay,
that it got the ratio down to about 27. I was guessing it's probably at least $25, but he's saying it's closer to 100. So that would
which is
make-
the historical ratio.
which is a historical ratio of operational cost coverage based upon monitoring. And that assumes that you have not lost revenue in per capita, right?
Or is that?
And so he's taking the risk both ways. He didn't increase it, but he didn't decrease it either if there are less livestock or whatever around.
In inspection fees, one thing with the re-record and the new brands and transfers, that is roughly a quarter to a third of the brand's fee revenues, because you got all your inspection fees and those licensing fees and other ones like that too. So that's why it doesn't change as much when you double that, this re-record fee.
So it seems to me,
I thought that was mine. No, I thought I shut it off.
so it seems to me that we're in that, you got two different increases that we're looking at, right? The fee structure on transfers, brands and transfers, and re-record.
Correct.
Okay, so now let's separate out those two. What's the data tell us relative to data to re-record? It says you have to be somewhere between 175 and 200 to maintain historical relationships in the past, right? Over a period of 10 years,
Right.
right? What does it say on the fee structure on the other side of the puzzle piles?
I didn't run it with just doing the re-record, or the new branch transfer. I ran it with just doing the $50, just a $50 increase on the re-record, and it runs about 32%.
Okay, so in order to reduce that down, you still have to be somewhere around the 175 to get the job done, right? Brian's jumping in his chair there.
Mr. Scully, members of the board, I just wanna add maybe a little bit different perspective, because, and maybe what I'm advocating for is something lower than $75 or $100. In the sense that there, and I heard Evan say it too, so it's already been out there, but re-record in that new brands and transfers is a much smaller piece of the pie of the total brands fees, right?
Right.
And so trying to have it carry all of the brands fees weight is maybe a little bit misguided, whereas in his $25 and $50 range there, what he's trying to do is make sure that the new brands and transfers and the re-record keeps up with inflation, now till
Right.
10 years from now. So, I mean, so it's carrying its water, not the whole brands fee section weight.
Here's the difference, the hair splitter that I would throw back on top of that is that what we've already been told by audit is the operational cost of one is different than the operational cost of the other. That's why I was splitting them. And the operational cost of fees and transfers is higher, relatively speaking, than shot at re-record. Which makes sense because you do one for a period of 10 years and you do the other constantly over time.
I think another one to look at though is like, what about inspection fees? Can we raise them a quarter, 25 cents in later?
That's a whole nother
Yeah, right.
discussion.
So that's what I'm saying, to help with this, here, rather than the new brands and transfers trying to keep.
And when that
Yes.
discussion's being held, likely I won't be on the board, but it'll need to be discussed about how we're handling our local inspectors.
There you go.
And I think to help, I'm sorry. I just-
Okay, what does it cost?
Okay, go ahead.
What does it cost to have our folks downstairs do all the research and paperwork for this stuff? Per brand?
That is,
Please step on your banana peel now.
right.
And the reason I ask that is if this is a service, then the service should be paid for.
Mhm.
There it is. The rest of it is whatever it is, but if you have that service, I mean, you go in someplace and ask them to do some consulting for you, you pay for the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what that other $100 are for, is on that new brands and transfers. So but that's the old fee. From 8 years ago, I think it was 2014, that's when that one was changed. 2013, 2014, that's when they changed the new brands and transfers.
We could go back.
Adding that extra money. So, and that is an old number too. That is one number that we have not.
And without getting into specifics, I think what we can say is definitively today is it's different between, there's a difference between John Scully has asked to re-record a brand that he's had in time immemorial, and all we gotta do is check him off the list and he's recorded, versus a new brand, which requires research, conflict check, multiple communications back and forth, or a transfer, which means you've gotta get, if it's an estate situation, there's all kinds of other information you have to get, check for liens. So there is a difference in work between those two activities.
Then why?
But we don't know the precise
We don't know the
difference.
precise difference.
That's why I hiccuped when you asked me that question.
Well, this
And the
one
wisecrack
costs
about
this,
the
and this
banana.
costs this, and this costs
But
this.
they can't, I mean.
That doesn't look quite
It is kind of an.
I don't know what it costs you to drive to town.
too much.
Some days it costs this, some days it costs that.
It
some
depends
days
on,
it's-
it depends on if
I mean, it
I
changes
have
a
my
little
list
bit.
or if John has it.
Right.
A comment.
Anyway.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. We just-
I was just gonna say, a comment I was gonna make for the board is that, and I think these guys were wise to do their analysis looking at the new brands and transfers in addition, because there are reasons you should. However, I do wanna make sure that you realize that you can divide, and I think that's what John said, you can divide those two. You don't have to make an immediate decision to do branch transfers, that's something you can take your time with. The re-record fee is something that at some point, and it doesn't have to be today, but at some point it's gonna have to be set so we can get the rule changed in time for January. So the pressing issue is what you wanna do with re-record.
Right, that's why I split the two, and the issue that they carry with them different cost structures, without getting into it. So we probably ought to be focusing on dealing with re-record numbers and that fee, and then, the other issue is, remember, that when we do re-record, it's locked in for 10 years. Where you do the other fee structure, it's not. And that can be changed over a period of time depending on what happens to those cost activities that you can figure out. But what he's done is taken a ballpark rate of inflation and added that on to existing structures without making any finite declaration as to what the exact costs are. Which is a fair way to do it. So, what, it sounded to me like Brian had a figure in mind.
No,
So I
Mr.
was-
Scully,
so I figured
I
you
concur
had
with
in mind.
Evan's $50 figure that he's advocating for here today.
Okay. And that would leave, from a percentage standpoint, a bit of a gap still, right?
Correct.
Brett, do you have
I'm ready to make a motion, so.
Go ahead.
You finish your discussion,
No,
please.
make a motion, and we'll have it during your discussion, your motion.
In our discussion, John, looking at the paperwork, as I expressed last time, I think it should be a 200. Is that a hill I'm gonna die on? No, okay? I don't believe the 150 is enough. Just looking at those numbers and, visiting about it here, I'll move that we make it 175.
Okay. Is there a second? Lila seconded that. Okay, discussion. Brian?
Just clarification, is that
Re-record.
just re-record?
Just the re-record.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pardon? Comment?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I just wanted to know, and I'm not speaking for the entire industry, but this came up as an issue at our Farm Bureau convention in November. And our policy on that now is we would support anything up to a $200 fee increase per 10-year periods. And the
Okay.
caveat to that also being that you not require a separate recording for individual animal species.
All in one.
Yeah, we own that
I didn't
one.
catch that. What did you say?
Well, our members indicated that they didn't think there should be you have to register a brand for every species that you have it on. So if you have your brand of
Gotcha.
horses and cows, you
We
just register.
We got rid of that.
We canceled that last meeting, but I
Right.
understand now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, I just wanna make sure everybody's comfortable with voting on it from a timing standpoint now. Everybody seems to be? Okay, we gotta get on with it.
Yeah.
None of us have time.
I just wanna make sure that whatever expenses are incurred are actually covered by the fee.
I think that we,
Well, I think Kevin's tried to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying his numbers are wrong, I'm just saying we need to make sure we've evaluated it correctly, and I appreciate that, and I feel like we have.
I think that one thing I can say is for the re-record fee, this is just kind of we'll have one employee covering that, and I think it is fairly simple process. We don't spend 4 hours per brand.
right, okay.
And I was just gonna say, we're currently, what I think this information shows, we're currently covering expenses. We've projected out to the best of our abilities what we expect our expenses will be 10 years from today. And, based on Brian's and Evan's recommendations, they felt that we would be okay where we're at. And of course, the proposal that's on the floor is even better than that recommendation from a revenue standpoint. So I think that we're not concerned that we will be able to meet our expense obligations with that type of action. So maybe that gives you comfort that we're covering the expenses today. And what's been proposed we feel will put us in a good position to cover what we project 10 years from now.
Brett,
Mike, you made copies of that deal I wrote up. We don't need to
Yeah.
listen to it now, but I wanted to make sure people that were here got to take it with them.
Okay.
Because in that, I felt like I laid out, you know, the costs, and how we went for 20 years without an increase. You know, 10 years ago, we didn't increase it because, you know, there was a lot of push from everywhere saying, don't increase fees. So we didn't. But if you take the whole amortized out over the whole 20 years, you know,
Right.
at a $200 fee, it's a 50 cent a year increase, which averages out to about a 3 to 3.25% on average. Well, inflation's somewhere around 3, historically. So I don't think that we're out of line here at all. That's what I'm trying to say. And we didn't raise fees 10 years ago because and I'm repeating myself, but you know, we had a lot of push from everywhere, don't you touch fees. So we didn't. I feel like we did our job, and now we have to come back and do this.
okay, motion on the floor is, raise re-record, fee, a single fee to $175 for the next, 10-year period of time commencing January 2021. And to be included in any notices prior to that period of time.
Is that
Those-
correct, Mike?
Is that right?
Okay, you were looking at it, Mike.
No.
Okay.
No, that's a normal, like.
Well, I know, but just wanted to make sure we weren't missing something in the translations.
Yeah, we can't get rid of it.
No, I was trying to listen intently to his part about the noticing, and I was like, making sure I tracked what he was saying.
It is public notice relative to
Right.
publications,
Yeah.
right? Okay, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All four are in favor? Okay.
For,
No, go ahead.
for any, little, self tidbit, for anybody that's listening or watching this video into the future, you know, I'd ask that you, read the, editorial that I wrote that's gonna get placed in the Western Ag Reporter the week of January 30th, because I feel like it lays out the benefits that producers receive from this fee, or partially from this fee, and it lays out what this cost really does to producers. And, anyway, I feel like lays out a pretty good argument for why we're doing what we're doing.
Great, and you have copies of those available now.
Mike's got them
Mike
now,
does, if
so.
anybody would like to have a copy of it. Okay, Evan, thank you for all that effort.
Thank